Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I jump into the topic of today, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself, James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself, James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, today I wanted to talk briefly about what happens when you go no contact or limited contact with a narcissist in your life. For a specific reason. And I think you will see what that reason is in a moment. So as I mentioned before, there are times you will never see a narcissist again. Maybe you dated a narcissist and you didn't have children with them. And they moved on to a new target. Married them. Now has children with them. And they have lots of narcissistic supply to go around. It's entirely possible that this narcissist might discard you and you will never see them again. Or you might go no contact and you will never see this narcissist again. And the main reason here is you have no more value to this narcissist. They know you see them for what and who they are. And they have no more real ties to you anymore that they can use as leverage to extract narcissistic supply from you. So because you have nothing of value they need, it's possible you will never see this narcissist again. With that being said, when I'm talking about going no or limited contact with a narcissist, and what happens, I'm talking specifically about the narcissist that might have ties to you, such as family. Or maybe even someone you might have children with. The example I'm going to give here is my own regarding my family's situation. As many of you know, I grew up with a narcissist mother. I was slated to be the scapegoat as I questioned a great many things that my mother did growing up. And because she could tell I could see what was happening in our home was wrong. I was slated to be the scapegoat growing up. To where I was the problem child, always giving my mother a hard way to go. Or so she told other people that would listen to her stories. Well, during all of this, my brother was deemed to be the golden child because he went along to get along. He noticed, I believe, the negative way I was being treated, and did everything he could to get better treatment from my mother. And he did this by never questioning the bad things that were happening in our home, and siding with her against me, whenever the opportunity came up to do so. When growing up in the home, it was difficult. But when I left the home, I tried my best to have a normal life. As many of you know, I ended up in a very toxic relationship with Susie, my ex, who I believe was a narcissist as well. But all the while out of the home trying to live a normal life, yet having many troubles along the way. But all the while this was happening and I was in this bad relationship with Susie, I was in bouts of limited to no contact with my family of origin. Simply because my brother was programmed and trained to be against me, which made it impossible at times to interact with my family of origin. This is way before I knew what narcissism was. And the limited and at times no contact was just a natural flow of the relationship I had with my family of origin. And this is getting to the meat of things. What happened during these bouts of no contact and limited contact? The tables seemed to turn a bit. And I stopped being the scapegoat as much. And my brother started to take on the role as the scapegoat. Now I never fully became the golden child per se. But I'm pretty sure there were moments where I was spoken of somewhat highly to make my brother look bad. But I don't think that was needed. Because my brother began to get very frustrated with his life and how it was a mess because of our upbringing. And though he was and still thought like a narcissist, he was starting to rebel against my mother. But a good portion of this was manufactured by my mother as well. Because you see, I provided my family of origin a lot of narcissistic supply. When I was involved with my family on a regular basis, I stepped into every single trap imaginable to where I was made to look like the bad guy. But as time went on, I was really trying my best to have a normal life of my own. And though I wasn't very successful at it, I knew that being around my family wasn't going to help me. And on top of that, my brother didn't want me around. So again, as I say, the limited and no contact was a normal flow of things. And because I at one time brought a lot of narcissistic supply to my home of origin, and now all of it was gone, my mother needed to get her fix somehow. And she started to work on my brother, to get him riled up, and to trigger his anger, so he would lose his cool. And other family members and some of her so-called friends could see or hear my brother in action. I later found out that my mother used the same tactic she used on me when I was a child. And I've made videos about it, where she would create chaos in the home. I would respond to it, and then she would call a friend of hers just so they could hear me being upset at my mother in the background. So I would look like the problem child. Well, it appears my mother was doing this same tactic to my brother many years later. She would call her friends or other family members at certain times she knew he would lose his temper. She would tell them to be quiet on the other end of the phone. And she would place the phone down so they could hear my golden child brother scream and holler about a variety of things. All the while without knowing it, he was becoming the bad guy or the scapegoat. You see, the specific reason why I'm telling you this is if you go limited contact or no contact, or whatever, the narcissist will always find a way to get their narcissistic supply. And if that means turning the at one time golden child into the scapegoat, they will do it in a heartbeat. But the other reason why I'm telling you this is just because the golden child is now being turned into a scapegoat. It doesn't mean you are now magically friends. It doesn't mean you can now somehow trust this person because you now have this common bond. Because most of the time when the real scapegoat child sees what's happening to their at one time golden child brother or sister, they might feel sorry for them. And they reach out to them and say, "You know, our mother or father treated us so bad. They did this or that to us." And this real scapegoat child will really pour their heart out to the at one time golden child brother or sister, seeing they are now in the role of being the scapegoat for this moment and time. But please do not be fooled. Because for one, the narcissist parent can switch the roles again. If they see you getting into the mix, just to get supply from you once again, or the at one time golden child will use what you've told them about your narcissist parent or parents against you, by telling others what untrue and horrible things you are now saying about your mother or father. Here's the thing. It's strictly up to you if you are no contact or limited contact. I've been both. And now I'm limited contact because of the family dynamics. It works. Their narcissism no longer is a threat to my life. Nor do I let it be. However, when it was a threat, I was completely no contact. However, with that being said, regardless if you are limited or no contact, you need to understand you can't fix these people. Even when you see things happen like the golden child now getting treated like you were once treated. But the difference is they aren't you. And they are more than likely a narcissist. And if you try to put yourself in the middle of what is happening, hoping to help your narcissist sibling, you run a 99.9% chance of it going really bad for you if you do so. Because the narcissist, regardless if it's your sibling, or your parent or parents, or someone you were married to, they aren't looking for help to fix their problem. They are only looking for supply. You must know that. And once my family's situation became less of a threat, I was able to have limited contact. But knowing I can't change them at all, and I behaved as such, I stayed away from certain conversations. Even when I would get that twinge inside to say certain things, I would refrain and keep the conversations short and generic. And I wouldn't reveal anything of importance about myself at all. So if you go no contact or limited contact, the narcissist is going to replace the supply they got from you using someone else. But just as easily as they put someone in your role of scapegoat, they can put you back into the role as scapegoat again. Don't ever forget that. It's important to note. Just because you are making strides forward in your life, doesn't mean the narcissist is. Or those around them for that matter. And if you have any dealings with them, you must keep that in mind. They, meaning the narcissists, are always flip-flopping the roles that people in their lives have. Also, they can get the narcissistic supply they are addicted to. With that said, I'm curious. Have you seen this happen in your life? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Because the more we share, the more we grow. And don't forget to subscribe to be a part of this channel's growth. And don't forget to click the little bell to be notified each and every time I make a new video. Also, don't forget to like and share to let YouTube know this content is important to you. And if you would like to support even further, you can do so by the way of Patreon. And if you are already supporting by the way of Patreon, I humbly say thank you from the bottom of my cartoon heart. With that said, I do hope your day was blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.